I have an idea for a table. Been kicking around this idea for a little while. I've not done this before, so you get to learn with me. If it fails, then probably still learn stuff along the way. But I think it's going to work. I think it's a good idea. I think it should look pretty cool. I guess maybe you'd like an overview, but just to suffice it to say, it's going to be a one-piece table. Looks like it's made from stone. So this one-piece table that's going to look like it's made from stone is going to be heavy, but it should still be manageable. Not overly heavy or obtuse, based upon its size, which I guess you're going to see that there would represent the surface of the table. It's going to be made upside down, and this will be the surface. So that's how big it'll be, how tall. Something like that. I'm going to call it 16, 18 inches. Not huge, anything like that. And the base is going to be made from styrofoam, which gets wrapped in a steel layer, a concrete applied to that. Again, we're going to do the whole thing upside down. It's a little challenging, right, to do it all in one piece like that. But it totally eliminates another technical challenge or series of technical challenges with two-piece construction or more. If I wanted to do a base and a top, I could attach one to the other with epoxy or some kind of glue or something to this degree, or I could build it such that they key in together, like parts that key in together such that it'll lock in place without any sort of adhesive. This is the options of hardware and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of things you could do, but I want to do this one-piece table because I think it will work. I think it's a neat idea. Should we get started? Since I have not done this before, I reserve the right to change my mind, make executive decisions throughout this. It's not that I don't know what I'm doing. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. My older brother is laughing when he hears that because those were famous words that my dad would say, usually right before something disastrous happened. So forever, trust me, I know what I'm doing is usually followed by some sort of disaster. But not in this case, because trust me, I know what I'm doing. Even though I've never done this before again. That is going to be the basic shape that we go with here. I'm going to pin the foam in place, then I'm going to reinforce that. What is that for thickness there? 1.25 inches. Well, 1 5/8 inches. Okay. I think the first thing to do is just start pinning the foam in place. I just want to make one alteration on this foam because I don't want it all poking out at me here. I could turn it to the side, I guess. I like to not cut my foam unless I have to, because you never know. It's always the piece you need is just a little too short. So if I can avoid cutting it, I will do so and then repurpose it for something else later on. So I'm going to tack in the foam in place with some screws into the wood base here. The wood base is just press board, but I only need a little bit of bite there. Not going for perfect here. Not building a piano as they say. I get all that debris out of there. Next step is going to be silicone. Here's some silicone right here. Regular silicone, not acrylic caulk, 100% silicone, not silicone 2 or polyurethane or any other kind of thing for that matter, just silicone, because you want to be able to remove it. It works great to, like, these edges are terrible. I wouldn't want to pour this at all. This would look awful. But if I add a bead of silicone, it will be very smooth. It will help me to transition between all these different planes. It's pliable, but it will set up and pretty quickly at that. It's cheap, plentiful, readily available everywhere. It is a go-to item for any kind of concrete casting or a lot of concrete casting applications. Where is all this dust coming from? I thought I got all this. Anyway, so I'm gonna just add a bead to the inside, basically any place where I have concrete that's going to be leaking out. Actually, you know what? One more thing before we go there. 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 4. 4. So we're going to get a little movement there. You know, the board is going to give us enough that I'm not worried about the weight of the concrete pushing it out, but there's going to be a little bit of flex here, and I think I can help it a little bit. Is a mighty good thing that we're going to seal this with some silicone, because as you can see, we're missing some. It's okay. Let's see if this is still good. You know how it is with used silicone. It's usually a fight to get it going. Oh, let me get set up with some rags and whatnot here. Right back. Full of dust again. Is it me? Am I Pigpen? I might be Pigpen. That's possible. I feel like my wife would not be surprised if you were like, he's Pigpen. She'd be like, uh-huh. So maybe it fits. Ha ha ha, success. Okay, so we don't want to go to town here with this. You will see a difference between the texture from the board, from the insulation, from the silicone. There will be differences in the finish. So if you're going for perfection, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to do, but I think what I would attempt to do is I would attempt to skin everything with silicone, because even like this insulation has a corrugated like texture to it. You can feel it with your fingertips. I can't see it, but I can feel it with my fingertips. So if you're going for smooth, well, I mean, it's not going to be that smooth, but it's going to be pretty darn good. So let's go ahead and get the silicone in there, because that's got to set up before we can pour this. And once I have the silicone in place, we can get rid of this thing, let it set up, and we can get the base over and we can start talking about that. Let's get started. Let's start with this disaster of a corner here. Silicone is one of those things, it's a skill to put it on, and there's probably going to be a bunch of people in the comments like, oh, you're not good, I can do that. Like, yeah, I bet you can. I'm not so great at it. I get the job done. If you can manage to do so without covering yourself in silicone, that's pretty good in my book. Urethane that gives you a hard time. Silicone's the easy one. Not going for perfection here, because I'm also going to run my finger along the bead just to marry the edges. Get in there. A little bit of water. Some at the end. The silicone, if you can run the bead all in one shot, for sure that's the best way to do it, but you took out a little too much material there at the end. I need another rag. Boom. So much debris. Lots of rags. Keep your surface clean here as you're working, if you can. Get it, I think I got it all there. Okay, I'll be more careful to get it all on the next ones. I can see some ridges from the silicone where I've pressed it and the bead's too wide and it overlaps. It's a minute detail, but you'll definitely see it. And so I'm going to attempt to clean that off just a little bit. Of course, I kind of feel like maybe I'm fussing about details you can't see, but in the finished product, you're going to see it. Maybe we just keep those close by. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to let the silicone set up, and then I'm going to do a little bit, sealing and polishing before we can put the concrete in. It's going to take a couple of minutes just to, cover a little bit of details, but essentially this is done. So as I take this away, I'll just show you what we got. You probably didn't see too well from over there. It's pretty good.